Why don't you just buy this or that clinical sharp lens from Sony's or Viltrox or something? And to them I say,
So it's wiping your butt with a leaf, but it's not how a man gets around.
well, today I have a confession for you. This new lens I purchased, it's a Viltrox. And I like it. It's so sharp. It doesn't even have any aberrations. So as some of you may remember from my previous video, I've been looking to get another 35mm lens.
A 35 instead of 40 here.
As I've been feeling the limitation of the 40 a little bit, I've also been wanting to get an Apo lens just to see what all the buzz is about. I heard these voices in my head telling me that an Apo lens will give me better micro contrast and depth to my images. But it didn't really materialize until I see like a boatload of chromatic aberrations on some of my photos taken with the Voigtlander 40mm. And after that I just had this urge to see if there are any merits to this theory. Here's also a hot take. I've been looking to replicate the look of medium format film for a while now on digital. And after like 50,000 hours of dissecting medium format photos that I see on Reddit and YouTube, I've kinda deduced that the medium format look that many people champions, it might just be a combination of resolution, shallow depth of field, and sharp clean lenses that still have some vintage look in its renderings. And then the rest is up to your post-processing workflow. And that rabbit hole led me to this lens. Yep, it's not a Leica. It's not even a Voigtlander, it's a Viltrox. Initially I wanted to get a Voigtlander 35mm f2 Apo, as I'm quite a hoe for Voigtlander lenses. And I was this close to one until I learned about this lens. So yeah, this is the Viltrox 35mm f1.8, the second Evo Apo lens. The quick rundown is it's also an Apo lens, and compared to the Voigtlander, it's same weight, same size, more or less. It has autofocus, it's like 1/3 of the price or something. It has an aperture ring, it's weather seal. Everything you need from a lens really. All I needed to overcome was my snobbery towards Viltrox. Viltrox lenses were never really my favorite. I tried some of them before and it kinda felt like the modern Sony lenses to me. It's this sharp clinical design with like boring smooth round bokeh, which I really am not a fan of. But I saw some samples of this lens and I realized that this Evo line of Viltrox lenses might actually have a bit more risk to its renderings, a bit more vintage character that I really dig. So I decided to risk becoming a huge hypocrite and pull a trigger on one. And now it's becoming one of my favorite lenses ever, so let's get into all that. Why I bring you on this day trip to see some pagodas with my wife using this lens. Oh, and before we start, let's also put a disclaimer here. I have no affiliation with Viltrox, and I'm not getting paid anything to say all this. I bought this lens with my hard-earned money that I stole from my wife's purse, so just so we're all clear. Well, this lens doesn't have any fancy names like Summicron or Planar or something. Anything that will wet a lens snob pants like me. I think there's something different, something special in these Evo lenses. It's one of those don't knock until you try it thing, I guess. And I find the images I get from this lens is very beautiful. The subject is sharp and the color has this insane clarity and micro contrast due to the Apo design. I never add any sharpening or clarity to my photos, and I'm definitely not doing it with the images coming from this lens. I find that never really helps and only add to the ugly digital look that I don't like. I do always add a little bit of grain though. Beautiful film like grain from Capture One though, not the ugly ass Lightroom ones. I never really wanted to believe that the Apo design would be better, but here we are. There's definitely this extra richness and clarity to the photos. And yet with all that optical prowess, the rendering is also not the typical smooth, boring, round bokeh. Busier bokeh tend to make the images feel more dimensional is my conclusion. And so I fell hard for this lens. The incredible color acuity combined with the little bit of character in the autofocus region, it's just perfection to me. It's definitely a very different look from, say, my Mandler or my vintage Canon FD. I love all my lenses for their different looks, but this lens definitely scratched an itch that I've been itching for a while. And so as sacrilegious as this sounds, I think the look I get from this lens is almost medium format like. I guess let's also talk about the mythical 3D rendering qualities one more time here. I'm gonna stop talking about this after this video, I promise. Not because I don't think it's a real effect that some lenses have more than others, but because I think some people treat that qualities too seriously. I do love to believe that a unicorn lens will make all my photos magical, but let's be real here. The 3D pop effect you see on some photos is like 90% coming from the type of photos you take, the right distance from the camera to the subject to the background, the type of lighting, the atmosphere, color and contrast of the scene, and how you edit and split tone for contrast, and also choosing the right aperture so the background gradually fall out of focus and not just all melt away. I do often try to shoot for the 3D pop effect regardless of my lens choice. This is because I think it's a good look in general. That means I oftentimes shoot wide open when the subjects are further away, and then stop down in closer distances counterintuitively. And so I think shooting for 3D pop is definitely more than just using a 3D pop lens. For what it's worth, I do think the lens adds that final 5% of spice or sauce to the images to achieve this effect, and I do think this Viltrox lens does it for me. I guess I just don't think it's worth losing sleep over. I have chased and owned many lenses that some would consider magical over the years, like the Fuji XF35 f1.4, the Mandler, many of the film era Canon and Nikon lenses, Voigtlander lenses, Zeiss lenses, etc. They all have different renderings which are fun, but in the end I just don't see magic on most of my photos because, most of my photos are shit. Let's talk about the practical things of this lens. These are really the things that seal the deal for me. Practical speaking, it's just an excellent lens. If it was like 100 grams lighter and a wee bit smaller, it would be literally perfect, but I'm aware that physics is a thing that exists in our world. This lens have an aperture ring, which feels pretty nice. And I do love having aperture rings on my lenses, especially on the Nikon ZF. I don't know what kind of backwards ass evolution we got that removed these dials and knobs for the stupid command dials. Or even who was the criminal doing it first. It probably was Canon, isn't it? This lens is like 360 grams. This is about the limit of what I would like to carry on my neck all day. Like the Nikon ZF, this lens could be lighter, but that is always the trade-off, isn't it? You can both have like a sturdy metal build and be lightweight. And the damn thing is also weather seal, which is very nice for a change. A lot of my gear over the years was always somehow not weather seal, and it can be nerve-wracking sometimes. I guess it's more because maybe my equipment and I'm paranoid more than anything. But it's a nice peace of mind feature regardless. This lens autofocus great. I don't really have any complaints, but I have quite a low bar in AF performance anyways, so I'm not really the best person to ask about this. Most of the time I'm just in single point autofocus. I did use continuous autofocus to shoot some of these walking photos. And the lens nail focus just fine. I imagine it would be worse in video AF performance, but even the native 40 on the ZF will hunt in AFF anyways. Kinda like Will from Good Will Hunting or something. I don't know, I didn't watch that movie. There's probably some hunting involved, right? Oh, and this lens is very cheap, brand new, so that's like the most practical things of all. And while we're here, I guess let's also talk about the shimmer diffusion filter that I've been putting on my lenses for a hot minute now. So yeah, I have a filter on all my photos on this lens. Which I guess doesn't make this a very good review, isn't it? But I never said I was reviewing shit. Obviously this filter borrowed the design of the defense glimmer glass. And the reason I really like this design is it only bloomed the highlights a little bit and that's it. The effect is very subtle, but I think it smooths out the highlight roll off very elegantly. I tried black mist and I tried white mist, and those always seem to muddy up the images too much for me. This thing keeps the images sharp and contrasty, and it gives me just a little bit extra sauce. In the end, this Viltrox lens really does everything for me and more. I've come to really like shooting wide open at a further distance, and having autofocus is just so much nicer than shooting on a manual lens in that situation. If I was using a manual lens, I'll be too paranoid that I'll miss focus and just shoot at f8 on all my photos anyways. In fact, I like this lens so much that I'm ordering the 55 as well after my time with this. 35 and 50 is just such a classic duo for a reason now. I don't really miss not having a 50 on my back when I shoot with the 40. But now that I shoot with a 35, then suddenly I just want the 50 back in my back. It just makes sense. This is probably the Goldilocks of autofocus 35mm lens that you can get for the Z mount though. It's quite cheap, it's better SEO. It has an aperture ring and immaculate image quality. I guess I really should be getting Viltrox to pay me for this. It's not every day that I like a Viltrox lens. And everyone and their mothers get free Viltrox stuff these days. Is there like a website or something that I can sign up? There is? Okay then.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
This time I get some reviews or some. Are these Viltrox Evo lenses the last lenses I'll ever purchase? I mean, no, obviously. Let's not kid ourselves here. We all love gear and buying new gear. Only some of us has achieved the clarity of mind to stop the everlasting quest of acquiring new gear. But I think in the end it's important to keep reminding ourselves that it's you who make the photos, not the damn machine. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. People have definitely learned something from this video, right? And I guess I'll see you guys around.